Hey, friends, welcome back to the Do Cool Shit podcast. It's me, Meryl, of course. And today we're going to talk about transformations. And I mean, if you've been anywhere near the health and fitness industry for more than 5 minutes, you've seen this word everywhere, you've heard this word everywhere. Things like transform your body, transform your mindset, transform yourself and your whole life in 6, 8, 12 weeks. And it's a word that I've been thinking about a lot lately because I started to really hate the word. But what I realized through some examination is that I didn't hate the word in and of itself. What I hate is how it's been completely bastardized and how it's being sold most of the time, because it really is one of the biggest reasons why people feel broken and stuck and like they can't stick to anything when it comes to their health and fitness journey. If transformation was as simple as following a list of quote unquote habits, which is also a misused word these days, and I will not go on a tangent about that right now, but we will touch on it later. We wouldn't see the same people repeatedly starting over. I want to start this conversation as we dive in with before and after photos because you're probably thinking that. That's probably where your brain goes when we talk about transformation. And yeah, before and after photos are powerful. They, a lot of the time, are what sell people on working with a coach or a program or committing to a challenge or signing up to a challenge just in general. It is something that I've been told on the business end of things. Do more of this. People look at a transformation photo and they think, if they did it, I can do it. And it creates a little bit more clarity in people's mind of like, this is what will happen if I do this thing that's being sold to me. And I don't believe that before and afters are inherently bad. And if you haven't caught on by now, I'm someone who believes in nuance. I've posted versions of before and afters myself, uh, of my own body and of clients, people that I've worked with. The issue that I have when it comes to before and after photos is because they often lack nuance. They're capturing moments in time that show physical change. What they don't show are things like what it took to get there, what was sacrificed, whether it was sustainable, where that person is now. They also don't tell you if that change came from extreme dieting, a bodybuilding prep, if someone was white knuckling through it the whole time, or methods that they completely fell apart 6 months later and weren't sustainable. So when we treat a snapshot as proof of transformation, we're missing the entire picture. Transformations cannot be measured by one photo. And this is why if I ever post photos, one, I label them as then or now, because when we look at before and after, we have to ask ourselves, before and after what? And then what? But if I post things, I say this, then and now, and I add what they were doing, how they felt, what they worked on in that time, how much time it took, what challenges they navigated, what other shifts or changes they have made happen. And I make sure to add that nobody will look exactly the same or experience the exact same changes or results, even if they did the exact same things. And there are going to be certain business people who would call me dumb or tell me that I'm dumb for doing this, but I personally will choose integrity and actually helping people over quick money every single time. You may think that I'm fired up, and I totally am, and I'm just getting started. The fitness industry loves to sell transformation in a way that makes it look easy or just hard enough to scare you into compliance. You're going to see messaging like it's supposed to be hard. And, if you've listened to this before, you've seen anything that I put out into the world, I always tell people that there will be challenge. Things will be hard. This isn't false. But what is kind of behind the messaging that people tend to use transformation photos for example, or sell transformation in this what I would call shitty way, is they're really saying in that message or in that messaging, ignore your capacity, ignore your values, push no matter what. If you struggle, that's on you. And there tends to be this subtle but very real message that disciplined people are just more worthy. And that if you were just more disciplined or more consistent or wanted it more, then this would have worked by now. Essentially telling you that something's wrong with you if it doesn't look this certain way. But discipline is not necessarily a reliable personality trait. It's another word that is so misused in the industry as well. And it certainly isn't the one thing that leads to true transformation, although it may be part of it. Most programs are just selling you a list of behaviors. Eat this, train this way, don't mess up, without teaching you how to actually adapt when aspects of life show up or changes occur, without teaching you how to adjust based on being a human being. And then when you can't sustain it, you think you failed. But you you didn't. You just weren't given the tools. You were set up to fail in that context because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be mad that I say this, but people set up things in a way to set you up to fail. So you keep needing that coach or that program to feel successful and keep lots of money in their pocket. So let's redefine this. Let's talk about what transformation is. And what I really want to do in this episode, the rest of this episode, is give you more information and tools and skills so you can make real transformation happen if you so choose to. Real transformation is it's not just about behaviors or outcomes. It's about building skills, identity, and capacity. Skills like awareness. This is something I think every guest that I've had on here, we've talked about that is such a powerful and empowering skill, self-awareness. So skills like awareness, decision making from a place of empowerment and alignment, adjusting instead of quitting, identity shifts like you being able to trust yourself or knowing that you don't need to be perfect to make progress or keep going. And then capacity, where you have the ability to tolerate discomfort, to sit in uncertainty, to stay engaged when resistance is present or it feels more challenging. Transformation changes how you respond, not just what you look like. And this is where I want to use a visual that I come back to often, which is the caterpillar and the butterfly. And this is, I would say, a transformation visual that a lot of people think of, right? Caterpillar turning into the butterfly. Most people think that transformation works like this. The caterpillar cocoons itself. It just waits. It chills in there and waits and is patient and then comes out a butterfly. It just rested, marinated for a bit, and boom, new, beautiful identity. But that's not what actually happens. Inside of that cocoon, the caterpillar literally breaks down. Its old structure dissolves. What it was stops existing in the same way. And then slowly and messily, it rebuilds into something new. There's no part of that process that is clean or comfortable or aesthetic. There's no progress photo stage in the middle that looks impressive. There's no moment where it would make sense to say, oh, yeah, like this is going really, really well. And people aren't prepared for that gooey part because when people are in their own version of that cocoon, when old identities, coping strategies, rules, narratives, beliefs start breaking down, it feels disorienting. It feels uncomfortable. It can feel like you're regressing and not actually making progress or not actually transforming. But that breakdown isn't failure. That breakdown is required for something new to be built. And the problem is that most people hit that stage and then think something must be wrong. I'm losing motivation. I need a new plan. But really, they're just in the middle of becoming. And the fitness industry is freaking terrible at preparing people for this part because you can't market the cocoon phase. You can't slap a timeline on it. You can't promise what it'll look like. And so instead, people are sold this transformation as improvement without disintegration. And that's just not how real change works. And this is something that I truly believe. I do believe that most people logically know this is going to be hard. And logically knowing something is different than experiencing it. A lot of the times, I do think that people are prepared for physically hard, like working out or, doing something physical that feels hard. What I don't think a lot of people are prepared for are the emotional hard, the doubt, the frustration, the impatience, the nervous system hard, the slowing down, the not moving forward with reaction, the staying present and the releasing control, the behavioral hard, where a lot of this is showing up imperfectly, doing the thing that's unfamiliar, and the identity hard, where you're exploring and breaking apart who you are and why you do what you do, letting go of old rules and stories, and then redefining. And then when people hit that resistance, again, they think maybe this isn't for me or I must just be bad at that. But that moment is not failure. That's a predictable phase of transformation. And what's usually happening when people quit is one of two things, or sometimes both. One, they're misinterpreting that quote unquote normal feedback as failure. Again, we can put into expectations that that process is going to be uncomfortable in all of these ways and, reminding yourself of that versus thinking this is failure. And or two, they were never taught how to actually read the data that they're getting. Again, like, oh, you know what? This isn't failure. Stepping back, operating with some curiosity and looking at what it actually is. Discomfort gets labeled as danger. Messing up gets labeled as proof that you can't do it. That's how it happens in your brain with your systems. And the industry reinforces that by offering another restart, another reset, another this will be different plan. But real transformation doesn't come from continually restarting from scratch. It comes from learning how to stay when staying is appropriate. And this is where curiosity and experimentation matter deeply. If you don't feel safe to make choices, to try something, to learn from it, and to adjust, you're not transforming. You're just complying. And compliance does get results, but those results usually don't last. So, some questions that actually support transformation can sound like, what am I doing that works? What isn't? What is this showing me? What's adjustable here? What would alignment look like? Transformation requires safety to choose, safety to mess up, safety to stay when things feel uncomfortable. And I also want to say here that there's a big difference between performative transformation and lived transformation. Performative transformation looks good. It gets validation. It often comes from proving something or from a place of fear. Lived transformation changes how you move through your life, how you make decisions, how you respond when things don't go as planned. And neither one is bad. Again, it's unlikely that you'll ever hear me say something is bad unless it's maybe something like doing crack. But if you do ever hear me say something is bad, then call me out on it and ask me to explain. Um, Performative transformation does tend to be within a time frame and for a specific goal. And live transformation tends to be what lasts. So, what you practice when no one's watching is what actually changes you. To wrap up here, transformation is not about chasing a result. Like true transformation is not about chasing a result. It's not about working hard for a period of time and then having that result forever because you did that work. And that's often what those photos, the before and after photos, or those 6, 8, 12-week challenges, or the way that the fitness industry tends to market these things is they're saying work really hard for this period of time, experience this discomfort in these specific ways for this period of time, and then you'll have this forever. And that is not reality. Transformation is about choosing what aligns with your values and who you want to be. Transformation involves tools and context and permission to stay in the process long enough for real change to happen, while then, considering what moving forward looks like. Transformation isn't something that you just complete, it's something you live until you're no longer living. And just like that butterfly doesn't go back to being a caterpillar, the goal isn't to finish transforming, right? The goal is to keep evolving. That is what leads to doing cool shit throughout your entire life. So, I hope that this was helpful. And I know that I can be the queen of semantics and I can be very nitpicky when it comes to language. And that is because it truly does matter. It really matters. So I hope that I, at the very least from this episode, gave you a different way to look at things and again, put you in a position to be in choice, maybe be a little bit more skeptical as you look at programs and coaches and just things in general in the health and fitness industry, products included in that. Because skepticism here is curiosity, actually. It's critical thinking. It's you being in choice. And that's what I really want for people because I think that is the coolest shit. So, As always, if this was helpful, give it a like, a share, shoot me a message, any of the things, and I will catch you next time.